All right, we are rolling into another episode of Music Talks, a podcast where we talk with the next generation of composers, singer-songwriters, musicians, and music lovers. Together, we'll explore the uniqueness and universality of our experiences with music, while also discussing the history, culture, theory, politics, and a whole lot of other things in and around music. I'm your host, Dante Luna, and I'm joined by a very good friend of mine and an extraordinary multi-instrumentalist, Cassowary.
Yo,
Yo, man. Stoked you're here, man. I've known you for a
Dante.
long time, yeah.
Yes, sir. We go way back.
Go way back to the Loxa days, LA County High School for the Arts. You're on the Fat Possum label.
Yes. Woo.
Yeah.
Possums. Fat Possum's great.
You guys were supposed to have a show in New York, right?
Yeah.
And it got pulled like right at the last
That
second.
was insane. Yeah, that was nuts. Yeah, we were planning that trip for such a long time. And yeah, we flew out, me and the boys, Aiden and Sean. We landed there. We took a red eye, so we landed in New York at 6 a.m. Instantly, we went to go rent gear for the gig. So we were running around Manhattan getting like a keyboard. Yeah, getting like amplifiers and shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So then my friend Emily at the label calls me and is like, hey, I have this session for Pace Magazine. It's at like 3 p.m. Can you make it? We're like, oh shit, okay. So I call my piano player, Peter, who's living in Boston at the time. And I'm like, can you do this gig? And he's like, I can't make it. So then I call Jamail, who fucking...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, I can do it. And he didn't know any of the music. So literally we land renting gear. We run to meet Jamail at New School. We teach him some of the songs. Then we instantly go to Pace Magazine Studios. We do the session. It was great. Then we go home. Right. It was fun. Then we go home, start preparing for the gig, which is supposed to happen the next day, right? Wake up the next day and the coronavirus is like going nuts. We didn't even anticipate this. And then the label calls and they're like, hey, if we don't fly you back home right now, we might not be able to fly you home for a while.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And we're like, oh shit. So we're like, okay, get us on the next flight. And so instantly we just had to go run back out to Manhattan, return the keyboard, return the amplifiers. It was just such a crazy... Oh, and before that, Peter, our piano player, he canceled because of coronavirus, right? He was like, yeah, I'm not gonna feel comfortable doing it. And we're like, come on, dude, like it's not a big deal. It's nothing. And then the label called and they're like, no, it's actually something. You should get home.
Damn.
So we were in New York. We were in New York for like 36 hours.
That sounds like a ball of stress.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was awful.
Well, I'm sure you guys will get another shot.
Right. Well, so what we ended up doing is we, instead of doing a live show for the album release, we're going to do a stream through Baby's All Right.
And that's coming up, right?
Yeah. We're going to do that on Saturday.
Looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be sick.
Yeah.
So, like, what I love about you and your music is that, like, you have all these different genres and all these different kind of styles that you incorporate. And I think a lot of that comes from Loxa.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a lot before that, too, that was really influential.
As far as the genres go, Loxa did help, but honestly, it helped more, I think, after the fact, like after I left, kind of. Because when I was there, I was very much, jazz and like classical purist. But yeah, it wasn't until I left that I really started, checking out other stuff. But I think a lot of that was due to the connections that I made there. So, it definitely was a part of it.
Moth, I was just listening to Moth,
mm-hmm.
Which I love that song because it's like,
thank you,
so many layers to it. And it's like, yeah, you're kind of challenging the listener, but it like so groovy.
It's funny you said that because I always assumed that was going to be my most difficult to digest as far as like the compositions go. But surprisingly, it's like right now it's my most popular song on Spotify, which is weird. Right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's so weird. And I've got like, yeah, it is complicated, right? I mean, it's in 15, which is not normal, but yeah, apparently people are able to groove to it, so that's that's important.
Yeah, and like it's always moving, or it seems to always be like shifting. And like
Mhm.
there's one point where like sounds like it's in four, and
Mm.
it's just like oh, it's like it just like tickles your eardrums
Thank
in a
you.
good. I think that's a good expression, but
Yeah,
it's so fun to listen to,
thank
and
you.
it's like yeah, a hybrid genre. Like you can't really put it into a
Yeah,
particular genre.
that piece was inspired a lot by Steve Reich and like Philip Glass stuff,
Oh, cool.
which I already know you like.
My home dogs, not really,
Yeah.
but they're. I definitely listen to a lot of those cats,
Hmm.
and I just love like the time. I mean, obviously, it's a very shaky time with the whole coronavirus.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's a very interesting time to be alive, but it's also a really cool time to be alive for an artist because
Mm.
there's been such a long history of music and art, and there's been so many like things like in this era, that era, and now we've kind of exhausted a lot of those things, but now they're kind of all merging into little unique genres of their own,
Hmm.
and so we're kind of seeing the like a renaissance, I think,
Sure.
like a second
Hmm.
renaissance, which I think people like you and a lot of people from Loxa have been doing,
Hmm.
and it's really exciting to see. Um,
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, I think we're definitely a part of kind of a revival of like certain elements in art. Um, and yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we're lucky to be a part of like this Los Angeles scene, which is pretty, you know, um, impactful.
yeah, LA has been a really cool place to be. Like I feel like I've seen it change since
Hmm.
I've lived here, and like I don't know, it's I guess that makes sense living in a place for your whole life, but
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy just to see like new pockets of music pop up, and
Hmm.
like I've been seeing this from like Cal Arts too,
Oh
like
yeah,
it's like a
for
lot of
sure.
Cal Arts people are super great musicians and creative minds, have these like really forward thinking
Hmm.
things
Yeah,
that they do.
Cal Arts has always been really hip. Did you ever do Interspark?
No, what's that?
It was like a intensive uh, that you could do like in high school. I did it when I went to right before I went to lockdown. I was like 15.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah, and you like spent basically a month on the Cal Arts campus, and it was sick.
That's rad.
That's actually where I got into like kind of like djembe, like drums and like gamelan and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like that. Yeah,
that's the place.
yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot of that there. So you play a lot of instruments. You play saxophone. That was like your primary instrument in high school,
Hmm.
I remember. And then you also play keys, and
Hmm.
you play guitar, and you
Yeah.
sing, and you play bass.
Hmm.
Um, if you had to learn another instrument, what what would you learn?
I think I do have to learn another one.
Oh shit!
I do.
Which one?
Um, Shit. I mean,
Oh,
I mess around on drums, but I would like to be proficient on drums. I
oh
think
yeah.
that's like super important.
I was gonna say I feel like I left out drums or I left out something. Like I've
I mean,
already,
I can mess around on drums, but I'm definitely not a drummer, right? Um,
for sure.
but yeah, drums, it's an amazing instrument. And then I would, that's really tough. Um, I mean, I've always liked trumpet, but I it just messes with my embouchure too much. You know what
Mm,
I mean?
yeah.
Um, like I'll play trumpet for like 5 minutes, and my lips will be like twice as big.
Right.
Um, Yeah, I guess, I would like to learn more guitar. I can play a little, but it's definitely like, one of my weaker instruments. I'm much stronger on bass, which you would think, they're kind of very similar, but, those two extra strings on the guitar really add a lot. So
I can imagine.
But yeah, I would say, I can always learn more guitar. I would really like to just spend more time learning the instruments that I know.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I feel like that's gonna keep us busy for like the rest of our lives.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so cool. And like how all of your songs so far are kind of like chained together, but like each have their own place.
Yes. Yeah, and I didn't realize how cohesive the album was going to be until it was done. And I was like, oh shit, it all sounds pretty good together. But when I was doing everything, I was like, how am I going to mix all this shit together? It worked out though.
No, it totally works. And I love the name. It's called 114 Degrees, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the fact that just like the story behind that, I thought was really cool.
Basically, it was during that heat wave in the summer of 2018.
Right.
I think. Yeah. It's crazy how long ago we were recording this shit. Yeah. But yeah, it was so hot, dude. And plus, we were recording in the valley, right? So you already know it's hot.
Yeah, bakes and it was down there.
Yeah. So it was 114 degrees Fahrenheit, and that was outside. In the studio, it must have been hotter because I mean there was no circulation. It was just ridiculous. So yeah, we were all like basically in our underwear, like recording this because it was like, and like the craziest part is the song is like, it's like kind of like the whole recording is like a 30-minute epic.
Yeah.
And we cut it down to like 10 minutes and like spaced it throughout the album. But it was like 30 minutes of like live improvisation. So we were like sweating and like really, I think we went to some really special places musically, but even like cosmically, I think that would like, we were kind of losing our mind through dehydration.
It's like the Korean spa and
right. Yeah. I haven't been, but my sister loves it.
They have a room which is like super hot, and you just lay down on these like planks of wood, and you just bake in there, and people like start to have like I don't think they have hallucinations, but they start to like feel euphoric, and have these like sublime moments, which I can totally imagine taking place in that recording process.
Dude, totally. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we definitely. I mean, we were trying to kind of channel like some like John Coltrane energy, and like really like, I just wanted it to be like guttural and like gnarly, which it was.
I think another theme for the album might be just like, like heat.
Yes.
In different ways, like belt notch.
Exactly. Yes.
It's like spicy,
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I'm so glad you picked up on that because when we were designing the album artwork with the label, I was approached with like a couple of different ideas visually that didn't work because the colors, and I didn't understand that. But there were a lot of like purples and blues and greens, and I was like, this doesn't really make sense because the album's hot, right? So I want orange, I want red, I want crimson, and which we pulled that off. So like, but at first it was like a whole different vibe, a lot of cool tones. But now it's like very warm, which makes sense.
Yeah, on the topic of multiple genres existing together, what would be like your dream hybrid album or like collab, like with somebody?
Man, I think about this all the time. So I really want to work with Chaz Bear, Tori Moa.
Oh yeah.
I really want to work with him. I wonder what that would be like because, I don't know what it would be like to collaborate with him. I don't really know his process, but I really respect his songwriting and his production. And he does what I tried to do on this album adding all these different genres. I feel like he does with albums. So like he'll have an album that will be all like singer-songwriter shit, and then he'll have an album that's all like house music.
Right.
So he's like so cool for that. So I really want to work with him. I would love for him to just like honestly like produce something of mine, or like, who else do I really love? UMO, Unknown Mortal Orchestra.
Ooh, yeah.
Wow, so good. Would love to collaborate.
That makes I think that would I could totally see that, actually.
Right? That'd be nuts.
Yeah.
Who else? Those are the two right now that I've been really curious about. I really love Steve Reich, dude. If I could do a collaboration with Steve Reich, like I would be content.
That, like, goals, man. Oh, I mean, just like any of those. Like, I'm so happy that's like all three of those people are in your thoughts,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like the case for a lot more people now. So like, I could see it. I can see it.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know what Steve Reich's temperament is like, or if he likes other types of music at all. So I think he does. I've heard him experiment with like electronic music and like other shit too.
I could imagine something like you two doing something with like loops.
Yeah, like arpeggios and like, yeah, it'd be sick.
And just like rhythmic layering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like he has this piece called Electric Counterpoint, where it's like a bunch of electric guitar. Yeah, and it's just like so good. It's so groovy.
Yeah.
And there's one.
Yeah, I do a lot of shedding to Steve Reich stuff. Like, I'll put on Steve Reich and like play bass lines. So that's
yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. What a time to be alive. I love this. What I want to kind of do with all my guests that I have on this podcast is give you a chance, like if you want to say anything about your music or like the world, or just like anything you want, like, and you knew that everyone was going to hear it, what would you say?
I would say, I think this is applicable right now. Times have been changing recently. And I think this is kind of a really good time to be humble and like, inclusive. And I think you're seeing that a lot with people coming together. So I would just, kind of support that and just like hope that people continue to do so. And that when we do get out on the other side of this, I hope we can, continue to make that kind of progress.
Totally, man. Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
Thank you, man.
Well, dude, thank you for talking with me today. I'm super stoked to see what's coming up. You got
Friday album comes out. Saturday, we're doing a live stream. So check it out. It's going to be on Baby's All Right platform.
And that this is the 24th and the 25th
of
April 2020. And I said this at the beginning, but your music can be found on Apple Music, Spotify, like anywhere you listen to music. And you got videos out on YouTube.
Yeah. Please subscribe,
like that shit. Awesome, man. Well, stay safe out there. And
thank you, Dante.
I'm gonna be hitting you up for the vinyl, because
I will give you one, no problem.
I'm gonna shed it before the